watching YouTube. Now you have to forgive me for the bad hair and the fact I look so tired. I was up at 4 this morning to do a sunrise vlog from Cornwall. I'm still there. This is a kind of early morning shot. It's around about 8 o'clock now, 7:30, something like that. The sun is still low enough to get some nice colours, and we do have a lot of nice cloud around, which is really working with this location quite well. It's giving me some really nice diffused light. Also have some nice definition in the clouds here, but it's kind of missing or not talking about the main subject here, and this is this absolutely beautiful, amazing wildflower display here. Really nice. We've got loads of poppies, a few blue flowers which I think are forget-me-nots, and the yellow ones, which mine has gone a bit blank, but I think they're daisies. Absolutely beautiful location. I'm at Polly Joke, which is a kind of beach or a porth down here on the west coast of Cornwall, not far from Newquay, and every year this two kind of wild meadows and fields have this amazing display of flowers. Really beautiful sight. It's quite a small field, quite a small meadow, but it's in this really picturesque viewpoint, which does look out to the coast slightly, which you can just see there. And I'm really enjoying it. It's really nice thing to photograph. Now, I'm not an amazing photographer when it comes to wildflowers without kind of other subjects in the composition, so it's going to be a little tricky, this one. I have done isolated shots of poppies in the past, but I'm going to be trying to get some more landscapey style shots today. I might do a few isolated shots if I can, but it'd be a shame to do that when you're in a location that is just full to the brim of these flowers. Now there's two fields here. There's this one, and there's one which is just the other side of this hedgerow, which is pure poppies, and I think that one does have a slightly nicer composition looking down to the coast. So I'm going to get some shots in here, and then I'm going to go and get some shots in that other location down there. Now this is a National Trust place. You are allowed here. Obviously do not walk in amongst the flowers. Once you have crushed them and destroyed them, unfortunately they will not recover. There is luckily a kind of two paths down here, which looks like a tractor might have come down in the past, so you can walk down through them where they are squashed there. And when you get to this end of the field, you can walk up and down them, and it is given some nice kind of line and definition between the flowers and the grass. And I might try and get some shots down that any minute, just to do a bit of a split view, one side of the frame being wildflowers, the other side being this grass. I've come a bit further up and I have found some clearings where you can stand into them slightly without damaging any of the flowers. Unfortunately, I think these clearings are probably here because people have been up here shooting in the past and have stood on them and probably damaged them. So I'm not damaging them today, but it's probably unfortunate how these come about, these clearings. Shooting wise, I've got the 16 to 35mm on. It's kind of my go-to lens at the moment. I've been using it not exclusively, but I do shoot a lot with that lens, so I've got a lot of strong sunlight in my face here. But I've got that on. It's allowing me to get really close to the flowers and really get a lot of scene in them, a lot of kind of image in the frame, really working quite well in those 16mm wide angle shots. And I'm shooting portrait and doing portrait panoramic stitches simply because I want to get as many of these flowers in as I possibly can. And landscape shots from a high elevation like this just isn't really cutting the mustard, to be honest. It's not really getting enough of those flowers in. I also really like the definition we have in the clouds here. We got some nice stormy-ish looking clouds, which potentially might rain in a bit, but it's given some really nice definition on that. I'm shooting with a polarizer. It's not going to make a massive difference to the sky because I am shooting opposite the sun, and polarizers always work best around about 90 degrees to that sun. But what it will do is it will ensure that I get less reflection off the grass and the wildflowers and the kind of petals and it's going to give me more of a natural image of the flowers. So the polarizer is going to be staying on at every single location here. I'm going to probably potentially get the camera a bit lower down into the flowers a bit later, and then with those shots I will be doing some more landscape ones as well. I'm using no filters. I don't really think there's a need to, and I'm trying to keep the shutter speed as high as I can because it is very windy today, and we have got a lot of these flowers blowing around, which you can probably see now. So I'm having to shoot at not a massively high ISO, but something around f14, f11, an ISO of 250 to 320 to ensure that I get a shutter speed of about 125th of a second to 150, which should be enough to stop any movement in the flowers. It's quite a wide angle lens. Shooting wide, I don't have to go extreme with those shutter speeds. That's pretty much it really. Beautiful place. I'd highly recommend coming to here. Now to find it, all you have to do is follow the signs or follow your sat nav to Jolly Poke Beach. You'll see a car park sign or a car park appear on the left. It's quite a cheap car park to pay in. I think you can get £1 will give you like an hour or two or something like that, which I think is designed for people just exploring this location. And then the fields are literally a 2-minute walk from the car park. You can see them when you're parking, so it's easy to get to. Now I'm going to make my way around, try and get some other compositions, move the camera about, try and get some other things that work, and it will just be a matter of kind of firing up the images from each location, seeing what you think. I'll probably catch up with you now when I get into the field of the poppies and see what images we can get there. So I'll see you in a few minutes time. Got those shots in the bag now from this location, the more landscapey shots that is, and I'm going to be making my way over to the field with the poppies in any minute to get a slightly better composition of the ocean. But I'm going to be doing some close-up shots now. Now I've already done a few close-up shots with the 16 to 35mm. The good thing about this lens is you can get really close to the subject. You can get a couple of inches away, which means you can get some really nice shots, really nice kind of close up, almost macro type shots without having to put any extra things like macro extension tubes on the camera or anything like that. Now I do have some macro tubes, but I never take them with me because I generally don't really use them. I've not got them with me today. I'm going to be trying doing some shots now with a slightly different lens, and this is a lens I've showed off in the past at various locations. But it's a 50mm prime lens. Now it's a Nikon AIS lens, so it's from the mid-80s, and it came with a Nikon film camera, Nikon FE. With an adapter they will fit onto the Canons, and the focusing length, the minimum focus distance on this lens isn't very good at all. It might even be written on it somewhere. Yeah, here we go. It's 0.45 meters is the closest you can get to, so we're talking about something like well, half a meter. I can't really show it on the camera, but a significant distance you have to be away from the flower to use this lens. It does work really well with macro tubes, this lens, but I do not have them with me as said. So I'm going to see if I can get a decent shot on a 50mm prime, even though I can't get very close to the flowers. Now the saving grace, this lens is an f1.4, so it will have a really shallow depth of field. Now the jury's out yet. It's whether it's going to allow me to get blurry backgrounds, considering I will be half a meter away from it. I don't think it will, to be honest, but it's going to be quite nice playing around with the 50mm, get it on there, do something a bit different. see if I can get some cool shots with it on there. I'll give it a go now, see how I get on, and I'll fire up the images from it if I get any good ones, and the next location will be in that other field with all the poppies. Right, I'm in the other field now. I'm in the field with all the poppies, as you can see. Now it's a totally different ball park here, totally different game. I cannot get the images to look nice, kind of the way I was shooting in the other field. If I'm trying to get closer up to them and shoot down into them, it's not really working. I think the reason is there's a lot of grass interlaced between the poppies here. It still looks quite nice, but it's not really enough flowers just to work on its own with those close-up shots. There are a lot of poppies in the middle of the field, but I'm not going to be walking into those and damaging the ones on the outside. So I'm going to be shooting from this location. I'm just doing a long exposure at the moment, so I'm just going to check my time. Yeah, that's finished. I'm having to guard the filters as well on the long exposure because I've got a lot of sunlight coming in strongly onto the filter there. So I'm just going to go through what I'm doing now. Because I can't really get the similar shots to work as they were down in the other location, I'm doing more of a wide landscape shot that takes in more of the whole scene, going everywhere from this headland here all the way around to the right, taking in the water and this hedge line, with just enough of the water in the background there, so you can see that we're by the coast here. You can see that it's a kind of coastal location. Now I'm doing two things with this image. I'm doing a composite, so I'm doing a quick shutter speed shot, something around 200th of a second, shooting at an ISO of 11 and an ISO of, sorry, an f-stop of 11 and ISO of about 400 to get that shot. That is allowing me to take out all the movement in these poppies from the wind, get a nice sharp foreground image. Now what I'm doing is, because we do have a lot of definition in these clouds, and they are moving quite quickly because it is very windy, I'm doing a long exposure, a 60-second image of those clouds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be blending those two together in post to give me quite a cool scene, something that's got, where the flowers are quite still, but there's a lot of movement and softness in those clouds. Now to get that 60-minute exposure, I've got the polarizer on still, I've got a 10-stop leaf filter, and I'm shooting at quite high f-stop of f18. This lens can generally deal with that. It shouldn't be too bad, and I'm not worried about it looking too soft because it's going to be a long exposure with a lot of softness and movement in it anyway. And I'm shooting at an ISO of 50 to get that. So I think they're going to come out really nicely. The long exposure has just finished now, and we do have quite a lot of nice movement in those clouds. Not much definition, unfortunately, because I've got the polarizer on there. I can't also get the soft grad on. Unfortunately, I can only get two filters, or one other filter with my polarizer on there, and that is the 10-stop ND filter. So I'm going to have to be doing a lot of post in Photoshop on this, but I think there's enough definition in there. We should be able to get some moody scenes. Now I've done the long exposure. I did adjust my composition a little while ago, so I'm going to have to set up the shot now again for the poppies. So all I'm going to do that is take out this ND filter out of the camera. I'll just hold it with my fingers here. Now instantly I'm getting, I'm still on bold mode, so I have to go back into the other settings. Now with that out, an f18, I'm getting 15th of a second at an ISO 50. It's far too slow, so I'm going to adjust that down now to about an ISO of, or an f-stop of 11. And we're going to go up to an ISO of 400. That's giving me a 320 of a second, probably a bit too extreme. So I'll come down to an ISO of 250, 200 of a second. That should be fine. I'll go for that shot now. Refocus for the poppies and get the image. Now that's that done. So all I have to do now is stitch those two images together, and I should get some really nice images. I should get a nice smooth sky with a nice sharp foreground of those poppies. Now it's a really nice location. I would highly recommend getting down here before these flowers disappear. It's a beautiful location. If I am down here anywhere, especially on a holiday around this location in the summer, I will definitely be coming here to visit it. It's very photogenic, and it's just a lovely thing to witness and have a look around. Even if you just come in with your phone, it's a great thing to get down here and take some shots of. Now I hope you've enjoyed this video today. I really have enjoyed doing it. It's something a bit different. Lovely to see these wildflowers and all the nature around here. If you do come, obviously be respectful and don't crush everything. Please give the video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. Consider subscribing to the channel. There will be obviously more content coming up in the future, a bit more photography ones, and there will be some advanced stuff starting to pop up every now and then as well. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch up with you on one of the future vlogs.